Okay, let's get this going. Good evening. Bring down some of that smooth jazz. I got that off of Artist.io. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. So tonight I'm flying around. I'm still messing around with this update 10. I've been ignoring X-Plane for a little bit. I feel bad about that. But tonight I'm going to fly around. Same plane, Skyhawk 172, the G1000 version. And I thought tonight I would try something different for me. And that is I want to fly in Perth, Australia. And how did I come up with that? I really don't know. I have a friend of mine that a long time ago lived in Perth for a year. But other than that, I really don't know how I came up with Perth. So let me bring in the motor engine sound. There we go. And we'll bring in the sim. And we'll switch over to the views here. You can do my flight controls check and see ailerons, elevator, rudder. It's all looking good. Turn the lights on. I don't know why I have it all revved up like that. But anyway, let's kind of get this going. Bring that up a little bit louder. Let's see how this does. Okay. Never flown in Perth. This is Perth International, I believe is the name of it. So let's try this out and kind of see how this goes. Here we go. Airspeed alive. Let's see how this goes. Still doing left rudder here, but not as much. I'll rotate up. And I have the NVIDIA DLSS stuff turned off right now. I'm just kind of doing like an A/B thing and just kind of see what's going on and see if it's making a difference. As I'm reading more about it, I'm understanding more about it, and so we will kind of play with it some, or I will play with it some over the next few weeks to see if it really makes that big a difference. Now I have a little better understanding of it. I still think, so this is set right now, my monitor is 1080p, and I'm streaming at 1080p, hopefully 60 frames. I'm not getting 60 frames on Microsoft, and I don't have the FPS counter turned on tonight, so I'm just kind of flying around. So this is Perth. Let's take a look. I'm going to level out. And kind of do some turns here. So I did some setup. I took my favorite, you guys have maybe heard me say that one of the things I like about Microsoft is the smart camera, that you can have it pick certain things. And I kind of messed with that some more and really just kind of played with it. And I came up with what I think is a pretty good keyboard combination. So now I'm just back over the airport. That's a pretty airport. Let's see. I'm going to change the lights here. Let's see what happens here. Wow, that's pretty. Sometimes it just helps me get a better idea of where I'm even going. So we'll head this way. I know that's cheating, totally cheating. But what I've done is, and I'll kind of switch over, I don't know if it'll pick it up or not. Yeah. So what I'm doing is, I've got on the 10 key, I've got it set up to where 5 is my saved view, and this is the view right here. And I don't have a lot of luck using the hat. So I've got it set up to where 5 is my normal view, my straight view, just the normal plane view. Got 4 as a look to the left, quick look to the left, but with a toggle to hold. So if I take my hand off, it's just going to hold it. If I do 6, it's going to look to the right, and again I can let go and it'll hold it. You can also have it to where it'll just only keep that view if you're pressing on it. 5 is back to my normal view. Then what I have, and this is where it gets kind of neat, I've got so there's 7, 8, 9. I've got 4, 5, and 6 across this, the middle, and then 7, 8, 9 is kind of forward. So 8 is the select target for the smart cam. So it'll go. So right now it's pointing at the airport. That's the target. So if I was doing pattern work, that would be perfect. And then I have 7 set for previous, and then I have 9 set for next. So if I hit 8, that puts me in smart cam, and then 7 and 9 basically just toggle or sweep through the different smart targets. So you can see it's going. It looks like there's only 2 or 3 to pick up here. Watch. So right now it's locked on something, and I'll keep it like that. And right now I'm just flying using my instruments, and it'll stay locked on that. And this is a great mode for doing pattern work as you're approaching the airport. It's really, really good for that. And so again, it's just going to stay locked on that target. So if I was turning around or heading towards a certain runway, I could just basically hit my 7 or 9 key until it locks onto the runway that I want or the airport that I want. And then it makes it much easier to do pattern work. Like right now I'm just flying by instruments, but now I can see whatever target it had. And if I hit 9, it'll go to the next. I bet that's probably the airport that I just left. And if I do 7, it goes to the previous. So it's 7 and 9 are previous and next. And then 8 is the just back and forth between my normal view and my smart camera. And that is, if you don't have VR or track IR or the like, or triple monitors, I just feel like that is a really cool little trick to really help you be able to kind of, look around and see. Then I have 1, 2, and 3 set up. So 2 is just toggles to the outside. That's all it does. And then 1 will look to the left, and 3 will look to the right, external view. And if I hit that key again, it'll go back to this kind of chase position. And that's nice, again, for doing pattern work. If I'm doing the downwind leg, I've entered the pattern on a 45 on the downwind. This just kind of helps me see where I'm going, especially if it's an airport that I've not landed at before. Switch over, and now I'm back inside the plane. And I just think that is a super cool way to, just a quick way to do some views. So if you have your keyboard like mine, the whole reason I ended up mounting my yoke and throttle under the desk was I really wanted to have access to this real estate right here in front of me. And so and it ended up being a good move, I think. So I've got, my mouse and all that. Before it was very awkward, and now it's much easier to look at. All my touch panels are still in range. My radio panels are still in range. My multi-panel over here it's a little bit of a reach, but I've also got a lot of that multifunction Logitech multifunction is duplicated on the Honeycomb Bravo. So there's that. So I'm digging Perth. It seems to be doing okay. I'm definitely getting a little more stuttering than I do with the NVIDIA setting here. Let's try that for a second. I'm going to pause general options. And here's where that is. So render anti-aliasing. I've got it set for TAA 150. Let's just try DLSS. And I'm going to set that for quality and not performance. I'll just do quality, apply and save, go back, and resume. So we'll see if that's a smoother operation. And it is, but I don't think it looks quite as nice as TAA. My understanding of this now, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that what it's doing is it's downscaling the 1080p to something lower, to a lower resolution. So the system's not having to work as hard, but then the AI is replacing those missing frames or that missing resolution with what it thinks it should be. And so it may get it right, it may not get it right. So I'm not sure. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It definitely runs a little bit smoother. Do a steep turn here. These are hard to do, by the way, in real life. I don't like them. I do think it's a little bit smoother. But who can say? But it doesn't look quite as sharp, does it? Like the scenery doesn't look quite as sharp. We'll go back and I'll switch it back and see what it does. I'll put it back on TAA, apply and save. Go back, resume. Yeah, that's it. It's like with the DLSS, it's like it's slightly out of focus. It's just something about it. It's not quite as sharp. But I mean, it still looks good. And I guess it depends on how low to the ground you fly too. So I mean, there's that. And so right now about 1,500 feet AGL, and normally I would be higher than this, but this is definitely sharper. I don't know if you guys are getting this from the stream, but on my monitor, it's definitely sharper. I'm going to try and see if I can. So there's that smart view again. And I don't know if it's picking up the airport or not. No, because the airport is behind me, so that's what it's trying to do. So Perth is very pretty. And I think that's one of the things that I do like about Microsoft Flight Sim is that you can do these discovery flights to places you've never been. And I don't I'm not expecting to be able to have, address by address complete accuracy, but I do think that this is pretty good. I do think I want to start learning different planes. One thing I like about the Cessna 172 is you really do get a pretty good view. Like the way I've got it set up, I guess I could zoom out a little bit and you can see. I don't like flying like that. That feels weird. And then that feels a little too weird. So I kind of right around in there somewhere. But you get a really good view. A lot of times with the bigger planes, it just, you really can't see things. And I like to see what I'm doing. I am working slowly towards my instrument rating, and I am in instrument ground school right now. And I do want to start learning some of the bigger planes. And I want to spend some more time on BatSim, just because I think they cater to the bigger planes. Let's fly over this lake and kind of see what's going on. But yeah, so this is without the DLSS, and I do think that it just seems like it's sharper. Definitely sharper. Kind of take a dive here and see this lake. I know that X-Plane had another update. I think it's 4. I think they're on the 4th iteration now. I have not loaded it to see. I've actually not updated it, rather, to see what it's going to do. Right now I'm 500 AGL. 4 fights fussing at me. I do like the reflections off the water. One thing to be interesting that I've not done is I've not done any of the seaplanes. I'm curious to see what that would be like. I would love to get my seaplane rating. I think that would be cool. That may be something to do on a vacation, like down in Florida or something like that. So the reflection off the cowl of the plane looks amazing, except that in real life it's usually not that shiny on these 172s. The one that I fly, I think, is like a 2008. Yeah, look at that coast. Shore, or maybe not coast, but shore. That is pretty. Some more neighborhood, more area. I don't know if this is all. I think I'm kind of north in Perth or north of Perth. I don't know enough about Australia which is a shame. It seems like it'd be a cool place. Yeah, that looks nice. That's a cool view. So what I'm doing is I'm flying using the G1000 because I'm not doing a forward view. The upwing would look like that. Forward view down. That's cool. So that is pretty neat. Yeah, I am sure of it. I am sure that the detail is better with DLSS turned off. I'm positive. I'm positive that that's the case. I guess the question is, what's more important, that boost of performance or the accuracy? Of course, we want both, and maybe we'll get both eventually with the bigger and better cards. Although I was reading more about these 4000 series cards, and I don't know that my case would accommodate it, because I do use my other PCIe slots, and it sounds like these are like 3.5 slots wide or something to that effect, and it's a big case, but the motherboard itself, I'd have to get like a different motherboard, and that is an upgrade I don't want to do. Let's make it nighttime. So very cool looking. Flying at night is super cool. Having said that, makes me super nervous, truthfully. Here in the Midwest, you're over a lot of areas that are just pitch black. I mean, there's nothing. And you won't see, if you lost your engine, you won't see what you're going to land on until you're right on top of it. And so it's just one of those things. In fact, I let my night currency go. I couldn't take any, I can fly at night, I just can't take passengers. And I don't have a reason. I don't have a compelling reason to fly at night. So you can see a beacon up there. Let me do the smart cam. So the smart cam is now locked on the airport. And if I do, there's some other target that it sees. And then there must be something over here. Yeah, I can see some traffic over there. It's not on. Oh, it's doing something. Whoever it is moving out fast. We'll get a little closer to the ground and check it out. Get even lower to the ground. So let's see what happens if I switch to DLSS in the nighttime mode. So quality, apply and save, go back, resume. I don't know. Now that's not as pronounced. I'm pretty sure I can still see a difference, but it's definitely not as pronounced. And so that might be a good application for DLSS. I find that when I'm flying night flights around large urban areas, Chicago, LA, New York, Perth, apparently, it can definitely drop the performance. So that might be a really good application. It's just kind of, depending on where you're flying, you may just decide to use regular, TAA or something like that, and then save the DLSS for the super hard areas. Like right now, I mean, I'd have a hard time picking out the difference, I think. And I'm assuming this is downtown. Hopefully I'm not about to run into a building. So I'm using my G1000 to navigate. I'm using the artificial horizon, but leaving it in this view. So you guys can see the ground there and the detail. Yeah, that's not bad. I think so. At nighttime it may not be as pronounced, but I definitely think during the daytime it's a big difference. So right now I have it locked on the run on the airport. And that, in a combination of using my instruments, I can kind of just get a better idea. So if I just do this, it's still in the view, but I kind of like that being locked on. And when I say that, I mean to the airport. So try a nighttime landing here. Make sure all my lights are on. All right, 2 mile final. Let's get the RPMs down, slow the plane up. Start to trim the plane up. Add more flaps, and see there should be, that nose should just jump up, but it's not. right, now let's try to keep it at 65. Okay. Hope that's the runway. I'm not used to this green thing going on. Hey, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all.
Approaching runway 03.
So, let's see what we can see. Ta-da! Look at that. Center line. Holy smokes. Get that parking brake going on. So, let's see. Maybe we can try something a little bit different. Let's see here. Let's try main menu. I'm just going to pick some of this stuff. What would be a good one? You could keep it in. Let's try it. Oh, 15 knots. Got a little bit of a wind going. Let's see how long it takes to load. I'm going to clear up some of this weather. I don't know why it always defaults to snow. Let's try some just plain old clear skies. Let's try that. Let me pop out my screens. One wonderful thing, or another wonderful thing about XP, is that it remembers your pop outs, and that is awesome. You don't have to go through all of this to get your pop outs lined up. Which isn't that big of a deal, but all right, let's see what we got. Sydney, Australia, I think. Sydney something, yep. Look at that. Left pedal. Exactly opposite. All right, I'm going to get up some good speed here. up. And I'm going to immediately start my turn. Now I still have DLSS on, I believe. Oh, look at that guy. And this puts me heading towards the coast. Let's switch off. This is back to TAA for the anti-aliasing, which, so yeah, it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference, but I can also see a few more stutters. But it just looks better. It just definitely looks better. So it also looks like this turbulence thing that they brought in a few updates ago has gotten better. I feel like they overdid it. And it looks like they dialed it back a little bit, but I think it also depends on wind speed and altitude. So it's hard to say if it's truly dialed back at the altitude and the wind that I'm in or not. That's gorgeous. Now I need to go see Sydney. And Sydney is a hell of a long way from Perth. And nice reflections on the water. Now, sometimes I know Microsoft completely overdoes it with the trees. So not being from this part of the world, I can't help but wonder if that's some more of that just overgrown post-apocalyptic look that Microsoft does, which I don't get. Or if Sydney's that green. If it is, how cool is that? So very cool. I can see other traffic, other airline traffic. It's finally showing up on ForeFlight. Although I guess I could also do, let's see. Sometimes on Garmin I like to put it on traffic. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Right here, just to see where other air traffic is. And this is fairly similar to actual use. So that's nice. But I also have ForeFlight over here with ADS-B traffic on it, and it does appear that Microsoft does inject that into the app that connects ForeFlight to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So supposedly there's an airport over here somewhere. Other than the one I flew to. Oh, that's a heliport. Not a lot of different. There's an Army airfield. Interesting. I have not tried to land at any military bases. In Microsoft Flight Simulator. So for now, I'm just kind of tooling over Sydney, and we'll get lower to the ground and kind of check on some stuff. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Whoop, better pull up. Kind of low. I do recommend that you try that Smart Cam toggle bit. It really does make a difference if you're not using multiple monitors and all that. It really does. Let's see what Sydney looks like at night. Again, very nice. Very, very nice. So here's where I would basically go back to here and so there's the airport. Let me try a landing here. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna try to cut it hard. I'm kind of low though. Not kind of low, I'm very low. This is going to be an interesting landing. So it's a very long runway. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it's a long runway. just park it right here. And we'll bring up the lights. Not bad. I'm getting better at these landings. So anyway, I just wanted to get a nighttime flight in. Check out a couple of new places. I want to try to find different. I like finding parts of the world that have a lot of different things going on. So here we had water, vegetation, still kind of flat though. So I want to find something kind of mountainous, maybe mountainous near water, maybe like Chile or something like that. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions, but otherwise,